Nothing?
No.
Well, maybe it's a blessing. I'm not going to be on this. We do not know why my camera is not working, but I didn't have to put on makeup today? Oh, jeez. This is not good.
Not only is Skype messing with you, FaceTime was too.
I know. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe I have to, I don't know what I have to do. Restart my computer. But we are going to talk about today. Hi, Erik, by the way.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jamie.
He wanted everybody to know that Elisa, his mom, had asked, how do I find me? When she was looking for the video.
I know. I didn't know how to find me.
He's repeating that question. He goes, that should be like the number one question we all ask ourselves, not just when our video doesn't work on Skype.
That's true. We could have a whole session on that. How do we find ourselves when our little camera button is missing from Skype? All right, we're going to talk about this whole ISIS, terrorist thing. What is going on, Erik, from the spiritual aspect or from any aspect? Give us some insight from the spirit's perspective.
He said when we look down, we see a lot of human conflict. He says that's where we are. It's not so much wrapped up heavily in spiritual contracts as more so a spiritual contract within human conflict, right? So he says, I want to show that difference in that it's not so much as one person wanted to feel like a victim or one person wanted to be in the death toll to create awareness within their family and their communities. It wasn't like this kind of sacrifice thing. It's more of playing to the contract of human conflict. He goes, because what Earth really needs right now is resolution.
Right.
Learning how to communicate. He says it's not about pacifying everybody. So early to cuss. It's not about pacifying everybody's fucking emotions, but it is about understanding what they are and honoring them. But, the people who want conflict to arise, they don't want to go that route. So they're going to make a big splash like they did over in Paris.
Well, I don't know how we can communicate with them because they won't listen to reason. They are bent on even subjecting their own lives to peril or to die. They are bent on eradicating the Western civilization. How do you talk to people like that?
Did you hear me gasp? I was trying to keep it in. Erik is trying to find a way to politely disarm people. Just for a second, whoever's watching this, just for a second, if you could just set aside any kind of judgments or opinions, because
hold on, people.
Yeah, he says, I really want to compliment how they view death. He said it's quite different, right? Because, Mom, you were just saying, they'll make a sacrifice or they'll come in, on suicide missions because of the belief they have in their cause and that their life, stepping into death is an acceptable decision.
Right.
He goes, I'm not talking about the why. I'm talking about how they view death in those moments. And he says there's something to be said for it. There's this sense of transition is easy. There's a sense of awareness that death is an answer to a means. And he goes, I just think that's pretty cool to even think about in that kind of context. I'll throw that out there. I'll set that on the side plate. You can fucking eat that shit later.
Okay.
But
I can see that, though.
He goes, there's something there that we don't necessarily have in our culture.
Or maybe it's different. Maybe it's not that they see death differently, but they value life less.
I'm listening, he said. I'm listening. He goes, but, getting into their heads and looking at who they are, the way that they're taught is that death is a welcoming step.
Oh, okay.
That it's not, that they'll be praised through the process of their death.
Right.
Of course, it's on a cause that not a lot of us are signing up for.
No.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
But the concept that death is welcoming, not wrapped up in the shit that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but how cool is just that little understanding?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He goes, okay, now let's talk about the shit. What were you saying?
Okay, well, so I'm afraid, and I guess I'm not alone. I'm afraid about what's happening, and what can we do? First of all, should we be afraid in America? Will there be attacks on American soil?
There will be attacks in the future, not right now.
Okay. And do you think our country is doing what it needs to do? It just doesn't seem like we're doing much of anything. 8 drone strikes a day, and okay, that's it.
He said it's easy to critique when we're on the outside.
I know.
He says a lot of what we are doing as a nation in this arena is quite undercover and not talked about.
Okay.
And a lot of it is about collecting information. A lot of it is cyberspace, satellite collection, and a lot of it is about getting other countries' awareness. Because look at the fucking shit we did in the past where we're like, oh, that country's fucking up and they're being bad and they're trying to create an independent state, so let's give them weapons and shit like that so they can fight their own war because we're good guys. And then all of a sudden, people we just gave weapons to are fucking up and they're turning on it. He's like, it's just bullshit. The answer is not about giving weapons and military support in that way. It is going to be about giving support of communication, of creating clarity in what the true mission is, and letting force be an absolute last resort. Now, he says, I'm not actually saying that our country's doing all that, but it is starting to have an awareness that giving out the fucking guns and shit is not working. So, because we don't see it on TV doesn't mean that we are pulling back and not making it happen. Lisa, you said something before. What else were you saying in your sentence?
Well, let's see. Will it be attacked? I'm afraid. I said, I'm afraid. Should I be afraid?
And what can we do?
Yeah.
Because he says there are so many intents and prayers and love, fear, emotions up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Like, tangibly in the fucking air. He says it's like swimming through.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, that one's for Paris. Oh, of course it is. Here we go. He's like, we know where our focus is.
Yeah.
For those who've had that experience and either witnessed it or was 6 degrees separation up, we're all kind of feeling some kind of impact. When you're sending those intents, those prayers, those thoughts, that love, he said send it in an open, say again. When you're sending that, send it open-ended.
Okay.
Not like protect those who da-da-da-da and do this and do that and love them and, those are very direct. He said many of us are lost and we don't know exactly who we need to send the attention to. Even a lot of the prayers that I'm listening to that are sent to the man named God are save those who are innocent and punish those who are bad. All right, so we're going through the fucking duality paradigm that's not fucking working anymore.
Yeah.
So though we appreciate that you acknowledge the ones who have done nothing deserve to have that kind of peace and that love, and those who've created chaos maybe need to feel some kind of cause and effect, but again, kind of not in your judging hands. So if we're looking at what God, Erik.
Oh boy.
Right?
Oh boy.
My heart had a moment of racing. Oh, you're just telling people how to pray. Holy shit.
Oh God.
But he said if we're really looking to maximize our thoughts and sending our energy and our emotion, Send it there open-ended so that it can be used by all.
But give me an example.
He goes, well, just Mom, you know how we were talking about how can we help certain causes?
Right.
But when we think about the individuals, we get overwhelmed. And I'm like, send the fucking light to the earth, right? Send it right to the core. And then it comes up and it touches everybody and it touches everything and then all the animals and the trees and the air and then he's going on and on. Stars and beyond.
All right.
So
that exercise. Yeah.
It's that kind of concept, but just you can send it to the situation. The situation is much larger than Paris.
Oh, yeah.
But because we see that action and that pain and that shock, everything is going there. Yeah. We've got a much broader situation.
So send your intent, your prayer to the situation. I give love to the situation, something like that.
Give love. And he says,
send light to the core of the earth, have it come up to the crust and go right to the situation?
He said you can do that absolutely because the situation is located in more countries than just France.
Yeah. So that's a short-term thing. What about long-term?
Long-term, we're looking at people in power and how are they going to communicate. He says there's a way to control or entrap conflict, anger, in ways that don't breed it. It doesn't give it empowerment. Okay. But how we're approaching it now, and even in a media sense, it's giving it power. It's creating anger. It's creating fear. Anger, fear, frustration, helplessness, hopeless. All these things feed their cause. So they're getting kind of what they need out of it. They're taking joy in it. Mm-hmm. And they are the ones who are creating the conflict.
Yeah.
From the individuals to the planners to the ones who create the bombs to, they.
Sure.
All of them. Because not all of them are associated to ISIS.
Okay. What about these refugees? See, I don't want any of them over here. I know that sounds terribly, but I'm scared because most of them, 77% are men. Could be ISIS coming in undercover. Why can't we have them stay where they are, but guard them, protect them, put soldiers around protecting them from the terrorists? Or why can't Saudi Arabia take them in? They've got this giant complex that can house 1 million people. And I can't remember for what. It was for some special holy day. Why can't they? We could send humanitarian aid and food and, medical supplies and all that.
If we're really looking at the ultimate best way to do this, not like there's right and wrong, but I'm trying to fucking use English here.
Oh, it's a tough one, ain't it?
When something goes wrong and we come in and rescue and remove people, we're not creating answers. We're instilling fear. We're installing fear. We're saying, holy shit, this is so bad that we're scooping you up and removing you.
Yeah.
Rescuing in this kind of way is a crock of shit. I don't care where we're moving them.
Right.
2 miles away, across the world. He said it's the same thing. We're saying, you don't have the know-how. We're bigger and better. We've taken on your problems. And as a mom, right? He's saying to you, as a mom, he goes, do you call that good parenting?
No. So what should we do?
He says, in my opinion, he said, I like the idea of taking them aside. It would be even better if we provide the humanitarian services while they stay somewhere local or nearby. It's our ultimate goal to help them heal, give them the intellectual tools, the conflict resolution tools that they need. Don't give them guns. And then help them, groom them to get them back into their location and root them back into their community and culture. And he goes, now this isn't overnight. This isn't even in a fucking year. This is a long-term process. But in the end, we get countries that know how to talk and communicate. We get educated people who are making a difference. 1 talks to 2, talks to 10, talks to 100. And he says it just keeps going on from there. But we haven't done that yet. What we've done is we've scooped them up, taken them somewhere, and we say, we're good people. We gave them food, shelter, clothing, we're done.
Yeah, and we don't have enough jobs as it is for our people. So we're going to put a bunch of people that are going to need to make a living for themselves. I mean, so I agree. Just put them in an area, wherever, Syria, wherever they're from, and just guard them. Put a wall, barbed wire, whatever around them. Help them set up their communities and help them create an infrastructure and all that. I don't know.
He says, even if, Mom, if there's so many of them that we can't find a place for all of them, in the sense of United Nations, we divide them, we keep their families together, and we put them in programs that teach them. So we're providing more jobs for our country. Of course, it's going to be government paid by everybody else's, everyone's location where they are. But it teaches them how to communicate, how to protect themselves.
It's a good idea.
And then we send them back in a 3 to 5 year program, educated and ready to stay in contact with their community and their culture. I mean, refugees, uplifting them and taking them away, we're not just giving them this kind of false sense of security, we're taking away their roots. We're clipping them at their knees and we're saying, didn't we do you a good fucking favor?
Yeah. Plus the whole, ISIS is probably buried in there too, right? Trying to smuggle themselves in like Trojan horses in these wave of refugees. Of course there are terrorists there.
Yes and no.
Well, what do you mean? There's got to be some. It only needs a handful to take. There only has to be a handful to take down an airplane full of 300 people.
He said that's true. That's true.
So there are.
But if we think about it, if we do a divide and conquer and we don't send them all to one place, then we're watering down the strength.
Okay. All right.
But we can't punish all because of one.
No, can't. All right, well, that sounds good. Anything else on ISIS? And will we ever see this, either eradicated or forestalled enough or lessened enough where it won't be this level of threat? Will things get better? Uh-oh.
I don't want to say this, but I'll repeat it.
Okay.
Are there still Catholics in the world, Mom?
Yeah.
Is that religion still going strong?
Right. Well, they're not beheading people. I mean, will the terrorism, not the terrorists maybe, will the terrorism be quelled down to an acceptable level? Ever?
He says none of it should ever be accepted. He goes, my point in stating they'll always find a way to be together. They'll always be one. The wound won't heal completely, though there'll be a lot of turnover.
Okay.
It'll still be there. It'll still happen. That's their idea of war. But as we get further into technology, war changes. So it's not going to be like these traditional big bombings that you're seeing. Yeah. So
it'd be like cyber wars, stuff like that. Well, it's all bad. So anyway,
yes.
It's not going to get any better. It's just going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. All right, well, thank you. Anything else on that cheery note? We will end.
Yeah. On that beautiful, lovely note, he goes, nope, I think that's enough. I think I offended enough people today. He goes, I did my job.
All right, well, it's okay. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving next, so it'll be cheerful.
Yay! He says, I love you.
Love you. Bye. Bye.